Welcome to the Din and Don Show. I'm Din.
And I'm Don, and we are here for some fun. It's been a while.
And it has been a while. Sorry that we haven't made a video in quite a while. That's partially both of our faults. Just life got in the way.
Well, and we also decided we're still trying to figure out this whole YouTube channel, trying to make sense of what we want to do, how we want to do it. We both have ideas. We both work. I go to school part-time, and
I will be going back to school eventually, but so yeah, it's like all these things of life just keep getting in the way, and just life happens.
We also want to make sure that we make quality things too.
Yeah,
because in the beginning we were trying to just shovel out as many videos as we could, but we talked and we decided that we want to make sure that we give quality
over quantity. Yeah, so, and I honestly agree with that. And YouTube as an algorithm agrees with that too. So
you did something right.
All right. So, but today's video, we're going to be talking about one of our absolute favorite monsters in the entire world, Godzilla. Cue the... There we go. All right.
I thought you were going to talk about Al Gore.
Al Gore? What? Talk about Al Gore.
I don't know. I don't have anything against Al Gore. I was too young to even know who the heck he was. So, so we're not going to be talking about the very first Godzilla, but that will be something.
Yeah, we will be. That's something we'll talk about in the future. Right now, we're going to be talking about the Godzilla that was made in 2014 originally
by Legendary Pictures.
Which, good job for a remake.
Oh, heavens!
Good job. That's going to be our first thought right there. It's good job.
Yeah.
You kept the traditional Godzilla feel in there, and you obviously with the monster fights, with Godzilla himself, and how he looks is fantastic. I love. Though I do have one comment on the dorsal fins, the dorsal spines, and that's mainly they didn't seem as Godzilla-like. They just seemed more like just jagged spines a little bit, but it still obviously gave an update to the spines in my opinion, because like you have 2000 Godzilla where it has the really spiky spines.
That's true. But I actually really like the spiky spines. I like him to look a little more jagged, a little more
he makes it look more realistic and reptilian.
Yeah.
Which don't get me wrong, I like that aspect of it, but I'm a little bit of a purist when it comes to Godzilla. But anyways, there are so many different types of Godzilla.
He likes the old cheesy Godzilla. Actually, and I do too. But we'll get there. So, quick run through. This is the first time in years that Godzilla has graced the big screen again. And it's also the first time in years since, I think it was 2003. 2003 when an American director tried to make a Godzilla movie here in the United States. Follows the story of a EOD, that's an explosive ordnance disposal soldier named Ford. His name's Ford. Can't remember his last name. Where years prior, his father and his mother worked at a nuclear plant in Japan when it had when something broke down and the power plant went into a nuclear meltdown. Then years later, you find out that it's not really that.
It wasn't a meltdown at all, actually. It was, because as you see in the beginning of the movie, when they're investigating the giant skeleton of the creature, they see two cocoons, thank you. And one of them is open. The one that was open went to Japan and ended up burrowing and cocooning itself on top of these nuclear cells.
These nuclear fuel rods. Sorry, I'm going to correct you.
It's fine.
Because I've been looking this stuff up for the last few days.
It's totally fine. Nuclear cells, nuclear fuel cells. And that's what started feeding off the radiation and ended up causing the nuclear power plant to completely collapse. Everybody thinks at this point it's a nuclear meltdown and that the entire city, the entire area within like several hundred kilometers is just dead. It's just toast. Nuclear waste is everywhere and nobody can live in this area. But Ford's father has been investigating this entire time and come to find out there was no nuclear fallout, nuclear waste. He comes to find out that it was this creature, this giant monster, or Muto, that actually caused everything.
Yeah. Well, and he had wondered too, because in the very beginning, you see him noticing these tremors in the earth, and they're very specific. They're not an earthquake tremor that like is random, that pops out of nowhere and then just has this big kind of shaking. It was like specific. It was on purpose, and
It was constant and exponentially went faster and came faster and more often.
So, of course, he knows about this the whole time, and then you find out that this Muto is what it's called. It's called a massive unidentified terrestrial organism.
Muto for short.
Muto for short. It's like UFO, but Muto. And it's been for 15 years has been absorbing the radiation that has been leaking out of these nuclear fuel rods. Say that right? Nuclear.
Nuclear.
Not nuclear. Nuclear.
Mm.
Yeah. And of course, because how the plot goes is that when the main character sees this, of course, that's when the monster hatches.
Right, exactly. And that monster is hatching, chaos ensues, and we find out they can also do EMP pulses.
Which an EMP stands for electromagnetic pulse. And what that does is that it fries everything electrical in its radius.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
It happens whenever a nuclear blast happens. And it's very devastating. It's actually
very, very devastating. Literally everything that has electricity connected to it, be it computer, be it cell phone, literally anything that's actually turned on at that moment is fried and will never work again.
Mm-hmm.
If it's actually turned off, there is a chance that it will work again.
Really?
But it's very, very slim.
Huh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Learned something new.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Muto escapes, and now they're trying to find it. You find out that there's been this whole secret United States organization that's been studying these Mutos and trying to study these creatures that are from a different age and a different time that years ago used to feed off of radiation and grow with radiation. And of course, as the story goes along, the Muto starts wreaking havoc, destroys major cities, and eventually you find out that the other cocoon hatches, which brings in a female Muto, which then when you get a male and a female together eventually means babies.
Means babies.
And then it
when a male Muto and a female Muto love each other very much.
They destroy San Francisco is what they do. And of course the United States tries to destroy it, doesn't end up working, steals a nuclear warhead, and then they trust Godzilla to take care of the dirty work.
Right, exactly. So. And also you have the giant monster battle at the end, which everybody loves. But here's the thing.
Legendary, we love you. But we
You're
got an
great.
issue.
You're great. You did a great job, but we do have a couple issues. And the very first issue that Don and I
This is Din.
Don and I have is where is Godzilla in this movie?
Yeah, so I'm going to level with you guys really quickly. So I've watched a lot of Godzilla films. Maybe not as much as you guys out there, because when you see this, you might be thinking, oh, Godzilla, that'll be cool. I've watched a lot of Godzilla films. I actually own quite a few right now. And the one thing is that Godzilla is a main point. Yeah, there's a lot of time where he's
off screen.
He's off screen, and it's like he's coming. And I swear, like half the movie is him walking to Tokyo to destroy it. But he's there. He's there. And but it felt like it was more a movie about Ford, the humans, and the Mutos
rather than Godzilla.
Godzilla seems more like a side character. He seems more like not a Deus Ex Machina like I brought up in the past.
No, he's not. But it's more. No, you're right. He shows that you literally only see Godzilla like in the first half of the movie.
And don't get me wrong, like I love the buildup. The buildup is super cool because you see his spines, you see his foot stomp at the Honolulu airport, you see just him like snippets of him here and there, and it's really cool. And then it builds up, and you see Godzilla, and he roars, and it's epic, and it's cool. But there's not a lot of screen time.
No, he's not. Like even in Honolulu, like you were saying, like you see him out on the screen, and then you see him on a screen in the screen, and so it's like, yeah, that was screenception right there. But at the same time, there wasn't much Godzilla. Like I would say, the first half, as I was going to say before, the first half of the movie, you probably see maybe a full 10 minutes of Godzilla before you actually get to the main fight,
If that,
if that.
if
Like,
that. I mean,
um,
yeah, it's different. And I mean, like I said, I love the buildup, and when Godzilla finally gets there, it's cool. Um, but it just wasn't enough Godzilla
mhm.
for me personally. Sorry, I'm looking at the Din and Dawn
Notes.
laptop to see what we have out here. Um, it also was funny too. A lot of people kind of get after the design of Godzilla, and I mean,
Mhm.
he does look a little thick.
Oh, he's a thick boy.
He's big.
He's a thick, but not as thick as some Godzillas.
No,
There are some Godzillas that
yeah.
are super thick. For example, if you've seen the new Netflix show Godzilla Earth,
Oh,
that boy
jeez.
is
But
thick.
that one makes sense to me though, and I don't know. It feels like the Godzilla Earth. It just seems better. Of course, it looks weird because he's like part mountain, which I
Right.
get the point of why
Mhm.
he's supposed to be that way. But I don't know. It just he looks different, and I think it's because he's got thunder thighs, and and he's got kind of a more. This was explained to me in one thing I watched that he has more like an elephantine shape, like
Mhm.
his body's more elephant like, and uh and I mean like, but the first time I saw it was kind of weird, but the second time I watched it, it actually didn't bother me as much, and I thought it was kind of
Mhm.
cool. And they tried to take they tried to make Godzilla look realistic, which I really like.
No, I actually really did like that they made him look more realistic. I like that they make him more iguana-like. That gives him more of a lizard look, and that's
Mm-hmm.
actually what like Godzilla is supposed to be. He's supposed to be a giant tyrannical lizard
Yeah,
that breathes atomic fire.
yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, good job, Legendary. You made a heck of a monster. The first we brought up the first issue we had with not enough Godzilla in the film, but the second one we had is Dr. Serizawa. He's a great character. We love him.
Why is he so melancholy?
Yeah, he's just it's kind of watching him, he's like in a haze, he's not sure where he is, or that's what at least his face looks
No,
like.
yeah, it really does seem like he's just in a haze. He doesn't know what's happening half the
Yeah.
time. He seems really confused a lot of the time.
Yeah, and it just and I feel like that every line he has is something like you hear at the end of the first King Kong movie where they say it was beauty that killed the beast.
It was so profound
And
and
great.
great, but
And then they say it over and over and over again with Serizawa. And like I love the character. I like the actor. I like Ken Watanabe.
we love the line where he looks off into the distance past the camera and says, "Let them
That's
fight."
a fight. That's a cool part. That was a very, very cool scene. I just don't feel like his character was very well fleshed out. And not to mention too, um, I've been half tempted to say this. He's based on one of the actual characters from the very first Godzilla film.
Which ironically, oh, I'm not sure if it's ironically, but just an interesting fact is that Dr. Sarazawa was trying to straight up kill Godzilla.
Actually, he wasn't.
Oh, he wasn't?
No, he had found the way how to kill Godzilla. He had found something that could kill Godzilla, but he didn't want to.
Because it was such a destructive force.
Mm-hmm. And that was the problem is that he found a way to create this great destructive thing, but he didn't want to use it because he felt so guilty about what it would cause.
And ironically, that's exactly how the people who invented the atom bomb felt.
Yeah. So and Godzilla, the very first Godzilla, is a whole big metaphor of the atomic bomb. And next, when we get to that movie, we'll talk about it. So, and the last and final thing about this movie, and this is more something I brought up and I have a problem with,
Yeah,
but
this is nitpicking, but don't
yeah,
worry.
but Den kind of agrees with me. The Muto hatches from the cocoon in the beginning of the movie, finds its way to Janjira, and attaches itself to this nuclear power plant. Great. And for 15 years, it grows in this cocoon and then hatches. In those 15 years, they couldn't figure out a way how to contain the creature and then be able to remove the fuel rods.
They contained it by putting that net over it.
An electric net, okay,
but
fine.
at the
but
same time, you still don't know what you're dealing with. So is that enough?
yeah, and it's like it's absorbing this radiation for 15 years, which I get it. They don't want to remove it because it's absorbing the radiation.
And removing it could cause catastrophe.
Yeah.
Like for example, as you're, you can say.
Well,
can
yeah.
say
So in the bonus features, they said they had a picture that showed what would have happened if they removed the Muto, and it would have affected all this radiation would have gone to like all of Japan and part of Eastern Asia
Mm-hmm.
along the Eastern Asian shoreline, and that makes sense to me. And that's something I get why they didn't want to remove it. But in 15 years, you still couldn't have figured out a way to remove the fuel rods
I mean,
or cover the thing so that they would lose or so that you could, when you pull them out, the radiation wouldn't explode or expand, or I don't know.
no, seriously, like Don has a really great point considering that Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Well, I had the giant Chernobyl meltdown that happened several years
In
ago.
the 1980s.
1980s, thank you. For some reason, that wasn't coming to my mind. But they had a plan, and they still have a plan to at least contain it, and that's the giant metal sarcophagus that's on top of it to help contain the radiation leak. Now, why didn't they do something here?
I don't know. I just because I sit there like, oh well, it's taking the radiation. We'll just watch it, and while it's absorbing all this radiation, nothing bad will happen quite yet. Well, 15 years happened. 2014 comes along. It's like 2014 is like 2020 right now. Okay, that's what happened. Okay, 2020 was 2014 in this Godzilla film. If
Yep.
that makes sense. So I don't,
Or 2020 be the King of the Monsters.
no, because that makes Godzilla. Of course, well, Godzilla does make a lot of, but Godzilla's kind of a good thing though.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Sidetrack.
So anyway, dumb point. So, but that's kind of my big Hail Mary. There's a couple other like nitpicking things here and there we can get to, but
They're not that big. Like
But-
they're just things that was just like, they could have done better here. They could have done better there. But overall, Legendary, you did a fantastic job.
Mhm.
Like honestly, just my biggest thing is honestly just the Godzilla screen time.
Yeah.
More, it's a monster. It's a literally you go to the movie to watch two or more monsters fight and see who comes out on top. You need to have more monster time.
yeah. But in conclusion, though, it's still a good movie.
Yeah, if you want to have like an entry level to Godzilla, this is a great movie to do because there's so many different types of Godzilla movies. You've got Godzilla Final Wars, SOS, the normal regular Godzilla,
Yeah.
the Godzilla that was made in 1998, 2000. There's so many different type of Godzilla movies, and this is a great movie to get started with.
But I lost my train of thought. So, but it's good, and tell us what you think. Did you like the movie? Did you hate the movie? Do you like this movie? Do you hate this movie we're making right now? If you like it, please consider leaving a like down below and potentially subscribing to the channel.
Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with all of our latest videos.
And let us know what you think in the comments. And until next time, I'm Don,
And I'm Din.
and we've been here
For the win.